All right, John, hit it.
Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of Nailing History with your hosts, John and Matt. We're really stoked about this one. Finally got no technical issues to worry about. We're smooth sailing. Matt and I
hopefully you're in a better mood this time.
Much better mood. We had a set start.
You know what I was saying when I listened to last week's episode? It felt like I had my hand up for a high five the whole time, and you were just leaving me hanging like Tom Brady on the sidelines. That's how I felt.
It was a hard vibe. I mean, I couldn't. I was in a funk. I was in a rut, stuck in a rut, as they say. So, but much better now. I got a working computer, got a working setup here. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. I hope you all are listening are excited. And we'll get right into it.
Sound good, man. I got to let the listeners know. Hopefully this episode, you won't hear any bottle caps clinging together because, John, I got to show you, I got a worry stone in the mail.
Good. Perfect.
I'd like to say one of our fans sent it to me, but I had to buy it for myself. It's $38 for this little piece.
$38. You couldn't just
$38 for this little piece of red jasper, but it's got like a thumbprint on it, so I think I'm supposed to do this.
$38
all day. I probably could have gotten it cheaper, but I went to this website.
Oh, go ahead.
I won't blast them because it took forever to get here. I was upset about it.
Did you order it? Because I think in listening to last week's episode, I didn't hear it when we were doing the show, but I heard it on playback. I heard the bottle caps again. Did you get it after the very first episode someone told you, or was it when did you
I've been hearing some feedback. So I decided it was a couple of weeks ago that I ordered it. That's what I was getting at. It took forever for it to come in the mail, which this little piece of, I don't know, red jasper it's called. So,
but if we have to do coin flips from now on, how are we gonna call the side of your
I got the
red jasper?
I got a banquet with me.
Okay.
I'm just going to ditch the cap. And I don't have two of them. And I just got the red jasper in my hand the whole time. So.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a fidget spinner. It's not on my person right now. I'm in a basement in a lair. It's upstairs.
Yeah. Oh, and I got to fix my lighting here. It's bugging me here. Give me a second, John. Take over.
All right. Well, guys, we're gonna do another this week setup because Matt and I like how it's pretty open ended. Kind of lets us talk really about whatever we want.
Damn, I'm good looking.
Until we figure out a formula for this
seeing
show.
Myself. I like hearing myself in the headphones. I like seeing myself on the computer screen.
I feel like I sound very good this week too. It's weird. I don't know if it's the computer. I didn't fiddle with anything, but I just feel good. I think we're ready to go. So I was just telling our fans as you were walked away from the microphone, per usual, that we're going to get into another This Weekend scenario just because we like how it's open-ended. And I guess we'll have to flip a coin or a banquet to see who goes first.
Of coins, John, I think you might have one with you.
Yeah, but not on my person. Oh, yes. That's a great intro. Should I mention it now or should I discuss it? I got a big.
Well, are you going? Are you? Is it tied into your This Week in History?
It can be. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
All right. I'll be right back. 1 sec, fans.
This guy is insufferable, isn't he, fans? I mean, he can't even come prepared for one freaking episode. It's ridiculous. We'll get there someday. You there? All right, cool. I was trying to get the Jeopardy theme song music on my phone, but I ran out of time. That would have been funny.
Is that copyrighted? Can we use that?
That's public domain. Come on.
I was going to have a song. I was going to text you earlier today about a song to see if we could play it. I don't know if any of our fans know the song Debaser by the Pixies, but it would have...
Yeah, I'm sure we can't play that.
Played in perfectly to my story this week. So, but anyway, so
got me a movie I want you to know.
Want me to grow up to be the
baser.
I can't get this out. Oh, help. So anyway, yeah, so reason why I had to run away and run upstairs to get something is I was getting bombarded earlier this week. My emails said I was getting a package delivered from Texas and UPS tracking notifications. I was like, what the hell is this about? And then come to find out, this guy's texting me, hey, you ready? Big delivery today. And I said, okay, all right. I guess he sent me something. And sure enough, I think it was on...
By this guy, he means me.
Matt. Yep. That guy. The co-host of the show. Sent me something in the mail. Unprompted, but very cool. And so I opened the door. It's a little package, small little thing. Open it up. And
These are details that the fans need to know. There's details.
I'm greeted by a box, a big green box, probably size of your palm, like just a little box. It says on the front, E Pluribus Unum, United States Mint, Presidential Silver Medals Program. So I said, okay. And then I opened up the box.
Your pants got a little tighter when you saw that?
A little tighter. And then I saw Certificate of Authenticity, Presidential Silver Medals Program. And to my great shock and surprise, I unveiled a commemorative John Tyler, President of the United States.
His Excellency himself, John Tyler.
Peace and Friendship coin. It says it in here. It's 99.9% silver. I don't think it's silver.
How much does it weigh? It weighs like 33 ounces or something like that.
Yeah.
I didn't do my research before I made that purchase. United States Mint doesn't do gift wrapping, I guess, because the receipt was included.
I don't know if I'm paying just for the medal. I don't know if you paid just for the medal. I think you paid for all the pageantry along with it. I don't know what.
I buy it, $75 for this thing, right? 75 buckaroos, and I'm like, I bought it, ordered it, and everything, and then I'm like, I wonder how much that's actually worth in silver.
And did you look it up? No, but
it's worth like less than $30
for sure.
What the heck? I paid double for it. You're already starting at a loss,
dude. That ties right in. I
can't believe it.
Well, that's what the government, they got it pegged to a higher amount than its market value, and that's really a story.
Well, I guess
a lot of monetary history. But anyway, back to the coin: 99.9% silver, 1 troy ounce. That's 31.103 grams.
It's pretty sweet. Comes in a plastic case. Came in like a display case. Cool. Was it a pleasant surprise when you saw it?
Quite. Yeah.
You liked it?
I do like it.
It was a present for our 10th episode. I'd let John know later.
It's good. It's
celebrating our 10th episode.
It's a big one.
The 10's the silver anniversary, isn't it? Or is it the 10? I think it's 10. Maybe I should have gotten you a 10
I think
coin.
Silver Jubilee's at 25. Silver's 25.
Rats. Well,
but if
maybe if we're doing this 25 years from now, I'll get you 100.0%.
I need a gold. I need gold, dude. I'm a gold standard guy. Come on.
Oh, now all of a sudden silver's not good enough. Well, okay, that's fine.
Well, that'll also tie into
give
the
it back, melt it down, and get $30 for it.
I'll sell it to the U.S. mints. Maybe I'll get it, trade what's worth in gold. They're probably undervaluing gold. It's probably we're not pegged.
I don't know how you could trade.
We're not pegged
to trade silver for its worth in gold.
Well, we're not pegged to gold anymore. So anyway, used to be able to, but again, we'll get into that today.
Well, the price of silver is only going to go up. It's not going to go down.
Yeah. Well, relative to gold, I want to be able to get more gold so then I can sell that and make a profit.
Well, sorry, anyway. They don't have... His Excellency is the only president that doesn't come in a gold coin.
Damn.
I'm just kidding. I don't think they make that. I don't know why they're making them all in silver. I guess just trying to get rid of it all. I don't know.
Gold weighs... I mean, gold going for
That's cool, man. I'm glad you liked it. I have every president.
Even William Henry Harrison?
They do.
Mr. 30 Days.
Yep, they have him. I could have gotten him in a bulk deal. They call it the Henry Clay special.
Would have been a good deal. Would have been a steal. Benjamin Harrison, had to have him. Mr. Silver himself. But yeah, I'm stoked. Now it's going to be my fidget spinner. Yeah, he was the president. He served in between Grover Cleveland's
Well, keep it in the case. Don't oxidize that silver or whatever. Can that happen?
I mean, it's 99.9. It should be. I don't think it's corrosive. That's why.
Well, that 0.1 might be a little corrosive,
maybe,
though.
Depending what.
Why couldn't it be 100% silver? Why? I guess maybe it doesn't exist. I don't know.
I mean, you could. I mean, yeah. There's always going to be maybe some level of impurity, but
don't just talk out of your butt.
I did the whole research this week. This is all my thing I was looking at.
I guess they talk in percentages with silver instead of carats like they do with gold.
They might, but I don't know. But as we'll learn, I mean,
because isn't that all
governments
that carats are for
their
gold?
What?
The governments wanna be a debaser.
Pretty much.
Oh, look, I got John to laugh. Well, holy smokes. I have to give a shout out. I got a little bit of a slap on the wrist for last week with all that ship talk with the HMS Bounty and the mutiny and everything. I didn't bring up Sea of Thieves, and the crew, or my crew, was a little upset with me. Damn. They were like, "How could you talk about that for that long?" So they were pumped. The Juntao clan, or the Juntao Guild, is what we're called. We have a very Rush Hour theme to our to our guild. Remember the movie Rush Hour, where they were looking
Chinese
for Juntao?
Oh, Juntao. Yeah, the guy. Yeah, like the villain.
Well, Juntao ended up being like the white guy, but they thought he was the Chinese guy. Mm-hmm. But the reason that it's all themed in that is our the centerpiece ship. I don't know what you call it. The flagship ship. Anyway, our biggest ship is christened the SS Minnow Johnson, which is a shout out to Rush Hour 2.
Nice.
And also Red Dragon is another ship of ours. So we have 3 ships in our Juntao Guild. Shout out to the Juntao Guilds. What? And we've been doing some serious looting. We've one of the members has gotten very into it, which is pretty cool.
You know who you are.
Much into it.
You know who you are.
He's a little bit too into it, some may say, but it's fun to play now that we know how to do it. We're not getting pwned by noobs, as they say. And yeah, so we have 3 ships. We got the SS Minnow Johnson is a galleon, which is the biggest ship. Then we have Red Dragon, which is the smallest ship that we have. And then we just acquired, last Thursday, we acquired a middle-sized ship, and that is the Stugatz.
Okay. Stugatz.
Which, do you know what that's from?
No.
Wow. You're some Italian. You are some Italian.
I mean,
most of our fans would probably know that is the name of Tony Montana's yacht on the show. Not Tony Montana. Shoot, I got to edit that out. Most of our fans, rewind. Most of our fans would know that is the ship of Tony Soprano in the HBO series Sopranos. It's his yacht, the Stugatz.
The Stugatz.
And I think, yeah.
Okay. And I didn't know. I haven't seen the show, believe it or not.
Whatever. You wouldn't get it. You'd be like, this isn't like historically accurate, and I don't understand why they're making so many.
I think I can ask for a certain level of believability. That's all. That's all I ask. I'm happy to suspend belief a little bit. So you got 3 ships. What flag do you fly? You guys make your own flags and you fly them, or what? You fly them like
we fly the rainbow flag.
Okay. Want to be inclusive, want to be welcoming. I get it. It's good.
Yeah,
it's good leading.
You
bring people in and then you loot them. That's a good cover.
Anyway, the Stugatz is slang for, it can be translated in Italian to this. I guess, remember what we were talking about, that Hitler didn't want anybody to see when he got killed or when he committed suicide.
Yeah.
That's what it's slang for. I'll leave it at that. So any of the fans who don't understand where that's coming from, just go back, re-listen to episode 110, and you'll figure out what I mean. But that's what that's what Stugatz technically means. Okay, whatever. All right. So we're
20 minutes in here, peeps, and thanks for sticking along. Okay, yeah. So bear with me. So we got a couple things here, but I'm ready to get into it. So we are looking at the week of, what are we at? The 5th to the 11th, and so I actually picked the Panic of 1893, which happened the beginning of May. And so that was actually the biggest economic depression in the United States ever, up until the Great Depression, the stock market crash of 1929.
Okay. That was my next question. What date was this?
May, I think it might be May 3rd. So I might have made a whoops, but I did all my prep for this. So this is what we're going to do. No, it's up. I mean, it's a stock crash. So, May 9th, panicked stockbrokers May 9th. So we're in that ballpark. So it's the first week of May 1893. That's what we're talking about.
This is arguably my favorite week of the year. So just keep that in mind.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's Panic of 1893. Grover Cleveland was the president. And so it's so fitting that Matt sent me a silver coin, because actually at this time period in the country's history, the United States history, a big debate, like the hottest topic of the day, like think, maybe what Obamacare was 10 years ago or what the border is now, like what is in like the populist kind of mindset. It was bimetalism and coinage and people concerned about whether or not we should be on exclusively a gold standard. So before the Federal Reserve System, and way before Richard Nixon took us off any kind of gold standard, and we only use paper money now for everything had to be backed by, a hard metal. And over history, it usually tended to be silver and or gold at given times. And according to the Constitution, Congress has the power to coin and mint coins, silver or metal. So from the very beginning, bimetalism, so using either silver or gold, was allowed. And at various times, it kind of swayed. There was a little more gold in circulation, and there was a little more silver in circulation. During the Civil War, there was no metal in circulation. It was just greenbacks, very inflationary. And so then, so fast forward. So what's going on here is you've got basically a major silver strike in Nevada in the early 1870s. And so there's now potentially going to be a flood of silver into the market. And that's going to basically, the government has their set prices, right? The government says, hey, for 16 ounces of silver, that's convertible into 1 ounce of gold. And that's by law. But if on the market, let's say the open market's trading 20 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold, well, what's going to happen is you're going to end up with something called Gresham's Law. And that's basically a principle where bad money chases out good money. And it's basically saying
Gresham's Law. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically what happened is the government...
We're talking about a silver surplus is what you're talking about here.
Talking about a drive for inflation. Farmers and populists, so poor farmers who are very indebted, won inflation. Typically, that's what they're promoting. By having inflation, it cheapens their debts. They're able to pay back their loans with cheaper money, basically. But then it also causes issues with, foreign governments or anyone else who has any kind of investment in the United States. If you're cheapening your currency and you're pushing for an inflationary environment, it's not really a good signal to other places that want stability. It's generally doesn't really offer a very stable investment environment. And so what happened was, the 1870s was a huge find. There was a huge gold find or silver find, the Comstock in Nevada. And but before that was able to get onto the market, Congress basically said, hey, we're going on a total gold standard. So you can't bring your silver in and exchange it for gold. Like you can't do it, and we're not going to accept payment of debts, for anything over $5 in silver. But basically, it became by the end of the late 1800s, there was an element of this group, farmers and southern farmers, western farmers, and the wave of populism came up, and these people were basically saying, "Hey, we need to free silver. We need to be able to unlimitedly mint silver," which would basically lead to an inflationary outcome. And so, like, then the Panic of 1893 was tipped off because basically what happened was 3 years prior, you had the Sherman Silver Trust Act, which increased the amount that the government had to buy from these silver mines out in Nevada. And so that was kind of causing this turmoil in the market and kind of too much, cheap capital out there. And then when you have cheap capital, you get speculation. Happened in 2008. It's probably going on right now. Probably happened after COVID, when you inject so much money into the economy. People find ways to get invested into things they probably, over the long run of history have no business investing in. And so then we got a panic. There was run on banks, jobs, businesses closed up. And one of the things the president at the time did, Grover Cleveland, he actually repealed the Sherman Silver Act, which in its immediate effects, it kind of created a full-on credit crunch. And he basically had to go ahead and ask. So if any of our listeners have a bank with Chase Bank, it's actually J.P. Morgan Chase, but this was the time that individual was living. So J.P. Morgan, major financier at the time, major big banker, was like the guy who kind of pulled a lot of the strings in the world of banking and financing. A lot of the, John D. Rockefellers and Andrew Carnegie's. He was kind of the financier for a lot of those projects, industrialization. And so then he had to the president actually had to call this guy in and said, "Hey, like, we have a run on gold." Like, so the treasury was bleeding gold. It was all leaving the country, and it was, all this cheap silver was coming in and replacing it, per Gresham's law. And JP Morgan had to basically have a conversation Cleveland asked for JP Morgan's personal help, he and his banker friends, to basically pony up about $65 million in gold, to kind of shore up the system, basically, to basically bring back some of that confidence into the economy, to investors and to people that are, freaking out. It's what basically a bank run is. It's people just losing confidence. And
this might be the worst story that you've ever brought up on this podcast.
I feel it's unfortunate because I really read a lot about it.
Why would anybody care about this?
Because it's an important part of our history. I will say it basically, this whole episode and this event, and it basically would lead to a revolution in the Democratic Party. And from 1896 onward, we don't have, like, the Democratic Party was totally morphed into something else, into more so what we now know as the Democratic Party and what we think about it, taking up more of these liberal issues.
So what did J.P. Morgan get for the gold that he gave to the government?
Interest. We'll give you this if we get a.
So he bought like bonds.
To shore that up and with gold to basically reinfuse gold into the treasury. And I read a book previously on the election of 1896.
Well, that's my question. So, like, why does it matter if it's gold or silver? And, like, why is gold the standard for money?
Well, traditionally, it's the standard because it is of the inherent properties that it has. It's shiny. It's malleable. If it falls to the bottom of the ocean, it won't corrode. It has a lasting stay. It can be imprinted. So it's scarce. There's a level of scarcity to it. And it just makes for instead of having to lug around, pounds of, let's say, copper, because copper is far more plentiful. You need a lot more copper than you would a precious metal like gold. It's just far more fungible. I
feel like lithium's more valuable than gold these days, huh? Lithium's in everything, huh?
Yeah, but there's still more lithium accessible than gold is a store of value. Money is a store of value, and gold, because it has thousands of years backing it up, it's always going to have some level of appreciation, unless we find a planet with billions of tons of gold, and then it's going to become not worthless, but it will come down in value because it's supply and demand. But
That'd be a cool movie.
finding a planet with 1 billion tons of gold.
Yeah. And like all these rich fat cats are poor now.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
But like the Wizard of Oz was written about this whole time period.
And then like what could be what could be more powerful than gold or money? Like if all the people who were rich now and gold was like then somebody found all that gold, so now gold's not worth anything anymore. Like what would the next thing be to like step up to? Like,
well, we've already answered
Beanie
that.
Babies, maybe?
No, well, paper currency and the trust that people will put into it. We don't have gold.
Pokemon cards, maybe?
Well, Bitcoin.
Could be something like that.
Well, it's cryptocurrency, I'd say, at the moment. I mean, it's if you're looking for something that's a little more exploratory, having digital cryptocurrency.
Furbies would be another one.
Furbies could be. But they're not really
Furbies
good. I mean, they're not really a good medium of exchange, though. That's why they wouldn't really fly as a replacement for gold. Because people
Beanie Babies are, though.
How are you going to... Yeah.
And Pokemon cards. I think Pokemon cards would be the it'd be like Bitcoin, Pokemon cards, Beanie Babies, Dogecoin.
You think
you
think someone in Africa would appreciate a Beanie Baby as much as someone in Seattle or like Seattle, Washington, or who knows what a Beanie Baby is? Everyone knows what gold is. It's got thousands of years.
Buy stuff, but if you could buy stuff with Beanie Babies, and if everybody had gold, but they're not making any more Beanie Babies.
Yeah, but scarcity is not the only thing that makes something.
And
money.
people in Africa probably know Pokemon cards.
But they're paper. I mean, they'll give it enough time, they'll disintegrate. Gold won't disintegrate.
If you put them in those plastic containers or sleeves.
Still, there's not really a market for.
There's a huge market for Pokemon cards, dude.
I mean, collect as a collector item, and that will have value and will gain value relative to the to our dollar. But in terms of it being a long-term medium of exchange, I don't think it'll fly.
That'd be a cool movie.
In a world where Beanie Babies are the only currency around.
Did you have any Beanie Babies growing up?
I think I did have a few, yeah.
Did you keep the tags on them?
I think so.
My sister had a Princess Diana Beanie Baby. She got one of those. That was supposed to be like a big time collector's item.
Yeah. Not a medium of exchange. Not a currency. Not going to take that out and start trading.
But what I'm saying
around.
is what if...
You can't cut a Beanie Baby down to metal. You can take a big old chunk and make smaller and smaller coins out of it and put a certain amount of ounces. And if an ounce is this much on the market, well, you can just add and subtract and divide.
But I'm saying it wouldn't be cool if somebody discovered a planet made of like solid gold, and then my sister became like one of the anyone who has a Princess Diana Beanie Baby became like the richest people in the world.
I don't think I don't think that correlates.
It might.
So that's it. I got away from May 3rd, 1893 a fair bit there, but
you're a little early too, but that's all right. That was cool.
No,
interesting. Never heard of that.
But
that
also,
the coolest. Thanks for letting us know about that, John. That was enlightening.
Well, when you wonder why your paycheck's not buying as much at the grocery store, you just think back to those free silver Democrats. All right, the People's Party of 1890.
I don't get why. Like, what it mattered. Like, what opinion were you taking?
What do you mean? What opinion was I taking?
Well, like, what were the two sides? You say that there was like the farmers.
There
and
was
the
a conservative side,
each other.
which was the gold standard, which was let's keep inflation to a minimum, a bare minimum, because it's one, it's a tax. I mean, that's a lot of economists would say inflation is an indirect tax. They're not actually pulling money out of an account or detracting it from your wages, but if your money has less purchasing power when you go to the grocery store or pay your gas bill or anything. They say it's a tax, and it's a tax because it's the government who's responsible for printing the money, or inflating, in this example, like inflating the currency by bringing more silver into circulation.
And then
so
who was that? Was the Democrats?
It became the Democrats. Those Democrats. So there was a People's Party. They were a third party, populist party in the 1892 election, but then they didn't win. And then the Democrats, Grover Cleveland, he was a conservative Democrat. He was for a gold standard. But then by the 1896 election, there was a silver faction in the Democratic Party that basically hijacked the whole thing. And then like the conservative Democrat element, the gold standard Democrats fell off.
So the gold standard was the conservative way to approach it.
Yeah.
And then bringing the silver in was the more progressive way to look at the economy.
Yes. Radical, populist.
Okay.
But they were using words and talking about Andrew Jackson, and they said they were trying to talk up to Andrew Jackson populism, and it's like, this is our roots. The Democratic Party is for the people, and we're for the people.
So that was for the people was the silver element. Then you would consider the more conservative upper class people wanted to keep the gold standard because they wanted to keep their money.
That's an argument the silver people would make, but also it's just probably what most of the founding fathers would say too. Well, at least the more conservative ones would say, I don't know, like at the very least, you've worked hard for your money, and why would you want to inflate it? Like, well, one, that's, in the long run, a losing game. But also, yeah, it's... But think about this. Before the gold strike in California in the 1840s, I think silver was never more valuable than gold. It's just like you needed, before 1840s, you needed a lot more silver. But then when you had the gold strike, like, gold became less valuable because there was that much more in circulation and available. And so it's more about, like I said, it's not so much about the metals themselves in the context, it's just the means to the end. Silver would be a vehicle to create an environment conducive to what farmers wanted. That's in summary. But they tell you, what they didn't say was that there's actually the urban workers voted for McKinley because they saw it as, by having inflation, if you're a wage earner, typically your wages will never keep up with inflation. Historically, they don't, and they aren't right now in modern times. Like, inflation's at 9%, no one's getting a 9% raise. So, like, you're always going to be playing catch up if you're a wage earner. And so most of us now in the modern economy, we all work in the service sector or manufacturing sector, if at all. So
you're saying like the silver, bringing the silver in, or the people who are more of the bimetal side were maybe looking at it short-sightedly.
They had a means to an end. They were for farmers, and farmers traditionally were in very high debt.
And you could kind of equate that to the COVID bonuses or whatever.
COVID bonuses, even student loans. Talk of canceling them. Cash, clunkers. Just inflating out, repudiating debt by means of inflation. But it's a losing game because it's picking winners and losers. Okay, maybe you have a debt that's going to be repudiated out, but everyone has to live with the inflation. And so then, it just leads to agitation, for one, in the society. And it's not a very stable way of doing things. Hyperinflation in Weimar Republic ushered in the Nazis, So it's, out of control. Hyperinflation can absolutely destroy society. The level at which they're talking about, it would have caused some trouble and heartache for sure. But who knows? I mean, who knows what would have been had we had, unlimited free silver. But yeah.
I don't get the term unlimited free silver. What do you mean by that?
So I think I mentioned a little earlier. So like when they hit that big silver strike in Nevada, like they had all basically the miners were sitting on all this silver. Like, hey, we got it. Like, can we go mint it? But people were like trying to hold them off. Like, no, like you can just keep sitting on that. But then in 1879, there was a Bland-Allison Act, which said, okay, now the government, every single month, the government has to buy between $2 and $4 million worth of silver from these miners and mint dollars with what they purchased. But for up until the 1890s, they were buying the bare minimum. And so, yeah, basically, like the miners were sitting on all this gold. All this gold's been discovered, but it hasn't been brought into circulation. That's all. Do you understand now?
Kind of. Yeah, I get it.
Like think in a world where you can't print money, you have to have a metal backup because it's for confidence and an exchange of value. If your paper money's worthless, everyone knows that, and they'll act accordingly, and they'll hoard the more valuable. If you've got a bimetal system, gold will disappear if silver's overvalued by the government, by what they set them at. Yeah.
I get it.
That's it.
I get it.
Old Gresham. It wasn't the coolest, but The Wizard of Oz was apparently written about it.
So I don't get that.
So in this class, so actually in the original story, the Wicked Witch of the West is supposed to be representative of like the floods and droughts that a farmer has to deal with, and the local like banks they'd have to deal with. And then the Wicked Witch of the East was like
the Yellow Brick Road.
East, yep, the Yellow Brick Road was gold. So, and in the story, the road is supposed to be kind of filled with potholes and that you can trip over and whatnot. Stuff. And Dorothy, she ends up going there, like this tornado, apparently the cyclone was symbolic of, I think, the turmoil in the markets and, the ups and downs.
See, you could have started with that. That's interesting.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, this was like the issue of the day. It was super important for a good 15 years where it was like, yeah, I mean, it overtook a party. Like the Democrats were on their way to being, like I said, the Democrats we know. And then, yeah, like the Wizard of Oz was the president.
That's pretty cool. That would have been a good lead off. That's interesting. I don't know if I've ever heard that one. Is that the first time you heard that one before about the Wizard of Oz? You ever see that? You ever see that YouTube video where guys are arguing about the Wizard of Oz?
No.
Oh man, it's pretty good. Hold on.
Let's try.
Hold on. This is my favorite. Hold on.
Can you hear that?
Her sister was a witch.
Yeah.
Right? And what was her sister? A princess. The Wicked Witch of the East, bro. I'm gonna stab him. You're gonna look at me and you're gonna tell me that I'm wrong? Am I wrong? It's my favorite movie. Wore a crown and she came down in a bubble, dog. I'm not fighting with you. Grow up, bro. Grow up. Get educated.
Oh, that's all I think about when I think of the Wicked Witch or the Wizard of Oz.
That's funny. When did that come out?
That was the YouTube video? I don't know. Maybe you should send it to the guy doing that class.
Maybe.
You got any other honorable mentions, or should I do mine?
I have the Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, what's that about?
De Mayo. Well, I think a lot of people think it's about Mexican independence, which I had thought for a long time too. But
I just think it's about drinking heavily on
at this
day.
point.
I really never thought much of it.
Yeah.
Not a big Mexican. I don't know. I don't like margaritas that much.
Not a big Corona dude.
Nah, I don't like the Mexican beers or Mexican music. I don't know. I mean,
yeah. So, but no, the Cinco de Mayo commemorates the Mexican victory over the Second French Empire on May 5th, 1862. Basically, the French were getting involved. So the story goes, the French came involved because Mexico was trying to default on their debts and not pay. I think they had debts to Spain, Britain, and France. And so I guess France stood up and said, hey, we'll go get it. And a couple years before this battle, though, like there was a revolution and the liberal forces took out the conservatives who were led by Santa Anna, the same Santa Anna that was part of the Texas Revolution and the Mexican-American War. And so then like the Mexican conservatives basically called over the European powers, France being the main one, saying, hey, like we want to reestablish a monarchy here. Can you help us out? They said, sure. Napoleon III said, sure. And they came over. But then the date, May 5th, they won the battle, the Mexicans, that is, but they would end up losing. The French would stay for another 5 years. There was be led by a guy named they put in this guy Maximilian I of Austria. They put him on the throne of Mexico, and then they executed him 5 years later. The Mexicans did, and there's a pretty gnarly his graphic of him like embalmed is pretty gnarly.
They embalmed him?
Yeah.
How'd they kill him? Do you know?
Death by firing squad.
That's a good way to go. Please.
Yeah. I think some of them felt bad for him because he was kind of inexperienced, and I think he was just kind of like he was from a European monarchy. And I think he was not like in line to be. He wasn't in line for the Austrian throne. So they're like, well, we can put you somewhere. You want to go to Mexico?
Give me Mexico.
And he's like, sure. And I think they kind of felt bad to be like, well, we still got to kill you. Like, come on, like.
Oh, like they felt bad, like the Mexicans even felt bad because this guy was just kind of like a doofus.
Like the liberal forces came back to power and kicked him out, and they were like, but I think they were just like, well, we got to kill you still. But he was kind of just doing what he had to do, sort of thing. That's it.
That's all you got? All right. So it's finally my turn. You've talked for about 45 minutes on the on the money thing. I have been getting worked by the fans about being stuck in the late 1700s, early 1800s with everything that I talk about. So
I'm not the only one saying that.
What's that?
Are there other people saying that?
Yeah, everybody's saying it. Oh. And I have a couple that are still on my side, but a lot of people are complaining, getting sick of being stuck in the same time period. So I take those notes. I'll take the notes off the chin, and I'm gonna fast forward a little bit in time to another century that I like to call the 21st century. I'm going all the way up to the 21st century. All right. Okay. Why are you rolling your eyes?
No reason. It's not like there's a picture of George Washington. Like, yeah, it's okay.
What?
Nothing. Go ahead.
So on May 5th, 2000, the I Love You computer virus, it was a computer worm, infected over 10 million Windows computers on that date. It's also called the love bug or the love letter. And you ever hear about this, John?
I did actually I was doing my cybersecurity certification, and it's one of the first things they talked about.
Oh, really? Yeah. So it's a pretty good historical event. So your eye rolling can, go pound sand.
Okay.
So kind of funny. I mean, you get these all the time now, but I guess maybe in the early days of the internet, you might not have necessarily been as weary about getting a random email. So how this was spread, an email message with the subject line in all caps, no spaces, I love you. And then there was an attachment, love, all in caps, love-letter-for-u.txt.vbs. Came in, and when you clicked on it, basically the worm comes in, overwrites your data, and then copies it, and just attacks the whole address book, and then it just like it's one of those things where
self-replicates,
it self-replicates, sends everybody in your Windows address book, Windows Outlook, Microsoft Outlook. So I guess that thinking about like using like Windows and Microsoft Outlook in 2000, it obviously affected. Well, as I could see, it affected more of more like corporations than the normal the Joe Schmo user, because probably at that point most people were using an American like AOL as their internet provider. So it was started in the Philippines. So like it's just funny to me. I was reading this, I'm like, man, who would click on that? It's so funny. And then it was started in the Philippines. This guy was like poor, and he thought, I can't afford internet access, but it's not fair. I should be able to have internet should be a human right. So I'm going to create this worm and steal everybody's login information so I can just log on through their service and get free internet service. So that's kind of what he did. And it worked. It went all over the whole world. And then, they caught him, but like he couldn't get charged because it wasn't in the law in the Philippines, so he never really got in trouble for it. They say it caused like $5 to $10 billion worth of damage, but that's mostly like estimated based on the amount of work it took to find the bug, take it out, and I guess all the other stuff. So it's not like he was stealing money or anything like that, but it was a pretty impactful worm at that time. So, fresh off of Y2K, you think they would have been ready for that, but people thinking that I just think about somebody who like is at work and they're like, I love you. This is interesting. Like they probably had a crush on somebody at their work, and they're like, ooh, finally, clicks on it and busted. Ouch. And then the embarrassment of clicking on that and realizing that everybody else, like, I guess maybe not back then, it wouldn't have been as embarrassing, even though it still would be. But now, dude, like if you got an email from me that said that, and then you were like, wow,
.bbs
what a freaking loser. But just like, not even just being that stupid, but just being like, this guy thought that he had, like, you have to open that thinking like, oh, who loves me? It's like, which is a genius. It's a genius virus. It's a genius virus. It's just like, it's getting the most vulnerable people. It's awesome. And I thought that made me laugh. Well, so I thought it'd be a good idea. I was thinking maybe I'd play a song to go along with the I Love You bug. And like,
okay.
If I get your permission.
Go for it.
All right. You might know this song. And if you do, you can sing along, all right?
Okay. I can't hear your guitar.
You love her, and she loves him, and he loves somebody else. You just can't win. And so it goes from the day you die. This thing they call love is gonna make you cry. I've had the blues, the reds and the pinks. One thing's for sure.
Love stinks.
Love stinks. Yeah. Love stinks. Yeah. Love stinks. Yeah. Love stinks. Yeah. I'll just leave it at the one verse. What'd you think?
Not bad. Is that a new guitar? The new one you were looking at?
Nah, I wimped out. I don't need a new. What am I going to do? Play a really nice guitar for myself?
Our fans.
Did you like
for
that?
all those gold bugs out there listening to this one. Yeah. Love
that was funny.
stinks.
You didn't sing along. I thought you would have sung
say
along.
love stinks.
Yeah, you kind of messed up my thought process, but You like came in the worst possible time. I thought maybe during the refrain when I'm like singing my heart out, love stinks. Anyway, I thought that was funny. That's a
hijacked you like this worm. Like, I love you, worm.
like I just can't imagine clicking that. I'd be devastated. Like somebody would be like, "Hey, you clicked on the love bug, huh?" At work.
A lot of like elbow ribbing, kind of. Hey, heard about that? You'll be all right. Someone out there for you. One of these days, you'll get someone.
Love letter for you. It's just, man, that would be such a bummer to click on that. So now I don't click on anything.
It's a good bet.
I did just like a colleague of mine actually got hacked and had to send an email out like, "Hey, sorry, I got hacked. Don't click on. If you clicked on what I sent, you might want to change your passwords or something." So I didn't click on it. But they're good. Some of them are good for work.
They're getting.
If they get your
better.
hands on something, yeah, they have to be. I mean, this one didn't have to be. I mean, 5 billion it infected 10 million computers, which actually isn't that much.
Yeah, but in 2000, I don't know how many, I mean, in the U.S., I don't know how many households had a computer in 2000.
Yeah.
And if they did, it was just for bad computer games. And sending emails.
That's true.
So
I got that. And then the other thing that I wanted to say, it's not, it's not as you know who sings that song, Love Stinks?
No.
Oh, you don't know?
Who?
It's the Jay Giles band.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I was surprised about too. Yeah.
Nice.
I just knew it from The Wedding Singer.
Yeah.
When he was like dumped and he was still doing wedding songs. That's a good movie. That's a funny movie.
Love Sting. This music video looks pretty amazing. It's a picture of a bride and a groom with gas masks on, looking at one another.
Pretty good.
Kind of curious.
I wonder if Onel de Guzman was a fan of the song. He's the one. You think he was like, he must have been a down and out loser to put together a worm like that.
And like wanted the internet. Like, what could you have really needed the internet for that much in 2000? Living in the Philippines.
Well,
like, I don't know. I feel like in the U.S. it's like, or like in a developed country, it's like, okay, well that's just the next progression. But like, why is this guy in the Philippines in a village, presumably somewhere? Like, I got to get on the internet.
It is pretty crazy. Like back then in 2000, he felt that internet access is a human right. I feel like it was such a privilege back then.
Yeah, it was for, I would think it was for, countries that had the means, to actually have everyone on it. It was a middle class thing. I mean, in 10 years prior to that, it was really only for, the wealthier. So, did you have another one though?
I just wanted to talk about May 11th, 1981. The late great Bob Marley passed away.
R.I.P.
Yeah, so that would have been 41 years ago. 43 years ago.
Yeah.
And May 11th.
He's your boy.
Yeah, I saw the movie. It was good. I loved him. I thought he was. I think he's a cool dude. I think he was a guy who never really lost sight of where he came from. With being in Jamaica, he lived in Wilmington, Delaware for a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Definitely lost sight of where he came from.
Well, he went back.
Okay.
I forget why they came up. Like it was all like his whole family came to Wilmington. In 1966, Marley married Rita Anderson and moved near his mother's residence in Wilmington, Delaware, in the United States for a short time, during which he worked as a DuPont lab assistant and on the assembly line and as a forklift operator at a Chrysler plant in nearby Newark under the alias Donald Marley.
Hmm.
So, yeah, they lived in Wilmington, Delaware. It's kind of cool.
Big
I mean,
Rasta.
that's whatever.
You
They
ever
went
looked
back
into
to Jamaica, obviously.
Rastafarianism? Have you ever looked into it? What they believe?
I mean, they touched on it. The only real information that I have about it is from my guitar teacher. When I was in high school, he would kind of give me. He was a big Bob Marley fan, and a lot of times I would just go to guitar lessons and just talk to my guitar teacher about music and stuff, which was cool. But yeah, so he would talk about it. They have some interesting.
Well, they believed that at the time the emperor of Ethiopia was basically God on earth. I guess they thought, for whatever reason, they think Ethiopia was the bee's knees. Apparently, he converted though. He didn't die a Rastafarian. He converted to Ethiopian Orthodox Christianity in November 4th, 1980, shortly before his death. Did not die a Rasta.
Yeah. I think I did know that.
I had Ethiopia on a short list of places I like to go. I like to drink the coffee there. It's the birthplace coffee. And it's kind of a civil war right now, so.
Where?
Might want to wait till that dies down. Ethiopia.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. There's some pretty places.
Yeah.
But cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, here's
let's see. We went over. So what we go over today? We went over the silver, the stock market crash of 1893 that happened on May 3rd, which is a couple days before when we're supposed to be doing this. But obviously went into, I think May 9th was when panic set in or something like that.
Yeah. Big time.
And with the whole gold thing and everything, we talked about
silver and Beanie Babies.
And then
the Cinco de Mayo, which commemorated the Mexicans
France.
Winning of the Battle of Puebla.
I'll tell you what, that the fact about the Wizard of Oz being about the silver and gold thing is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I talked about the I Love You bug. That was May 5th, 2000. The I Love You, sometimes referred to as the love bug or love letter. And then little bit about Bob Marley, who passed away on May 11th, 1981. His last concert was in Pittsburgh, actually, too.
Really? PA?
Yeah, his last concert ever. Yeah, Pittsburgh, PA, John. Where else would it be? You got anything else to say to the fans?
Thanks for putting up with us. Boy. Go out and reread The Wizard of Oz with open eyes.
Or rewatch it.
The movie doesn't convey the same image.
Did you read it?
She's
Did you
wearing
read it?
no. She's wearing but she's wearing red shoes in the movie.
No. What you doing up there? John's beat. He came in real confident on this one. All right. We'll
ask your friend. Ask your Den of Thieves cohort what they find.
Sea of Thieves.
What's more? Ask the Jintao gang. What's more boring? And be real. Was more my discussion of bimetalism or the first veto? I'd be curious.
We'll put it up as a poll after this episode drops. We'll get it. There's no need for me to ask. I'll put it on a poll on Twitter.
X.
Sorry. Put it on an X poll. All right, John. Well, another good episode. Another good week. Hope we impressed you guys with our knowledge on the bimetalism economy. And we'll see you on the next one.
We'll see you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I love you.
These are your, what'd you say?
I love you. The worm.
That's a good one. Yeah, don't go opening any I love you chain letters at work because you'll look like a bozo to your coworkers probably. All right. Have a good one, guys. Have
See
a
you
good one,
guys.
fans.
And we say bye-bye.